Thanks for stopping by. It is a non-rainy day today, so that's okay. A little bit of an overcast. I know that some of you are absolutely buried under snow and freezing cold weather, and I hope you all stay warm and that you at least have electricity for some stitching, because that's what keeps us sane, isn't it? Stitching. And I have been enjoying all of your comments. You are all absolutely right who said, I've got my mojo back. I am back. Yes. And how I know this is that I am bouncing from project to project. I am having fun. I am listening to podcasts and books, audiobooks, and watching YouTube channels and just having a grand time so that I don't even care what's going on in the outside world. Yeah. We have been enjoying that Alien Resident show on Sci-Fi. Talk about a giggle and a half or a laugh out loud. That show is funny, weird, and too late for us, so we have to record it to watch it on the Sci-Fi channel. What else has been going on? We have been enjoying the food carts here in Happy Valley. There's a place that's only maybe about 4 miles from us that is a whole there's like 10 or 15 food carts in there, and there's a big building you could sit and eat in the open air building, but we just get our stuff and bring it home. And I'm loving it because I have been missing some really good Korean food, and there are 2 Korean food carts there. Yum, yum. So we've been enjoying that, occasionally not having to cook. We're waiting patiently for our vaccine, and I mean patiently because on my own personal level, I would rather people who have to go to work get the vaccine, because they're going to get exposed a whole lot more than I am. And you know, all those teachers, school bus drivers, we've been doing the essential workers, you know, all of us senior citizens that can hang out and stitch at home, you know, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. My turn will come and I'll be happy to do it. So I have gotten some fantastic haul and stitchy kindness, which I'm going to share with you. My Yazzie bags came, and if you go on Stitch Roadies, you will see the Crafter's bag. Oh my gosh, is that bag amazing. But the other 2 bags I wanted to show you are the oval sewing box. I'm loving it. I'm loving this color. And you know, it kind of makes me excited about how I'm going to decorate these, because who wants a plain old bag? Yeah. Who wants a plain old bag? But since I have already 3 Yazzie products that I have wool stitching on, and on the Crafter's Organizer I'm going to actually do a cross stitch on the front of it, mounted. So this one, these next couple, I think I might do like a sashiko, or, you know. So there's this lovely bag, and it comes with a little pouch insert. But I love, it's kind of like a little lunch pail. I love how it feels. You know, it's got the little handle, and it's cute. It's cute, huh? So I don't know how I'm going to decorate it. You know, I have lots of quilt pins. You know, pins that you get like at quilt shows, Hopefully someday we'll be doing that again. But that would be a nice place to display this also. So I got that. That's the oval sewing box. And then the Yazzie Craft Box fabric top. And I decided on purple. I know. Isn't that cool? And it has, I have like a little official briefcase. I'm an official crafter. I'm the CEO of the Beehive, and I have my own briefcase. I know, silly. I'm silly. So when I open this, there are pockets in here. Oh my gosh. All these insert pockets. Look at all of them. That I can put different things in there. Oh my gosh. And then they fit in the lower half. They all fit in this lower half pocket. And in the upper half I could put my lunch. I can put some more projects and stuff. And the thing about these Yazzie bags is that they're sturdy. You know, they are, I mean, she originally made these as travelers bags for people who travel a lot, who fly a lot, to carry important things, their jewelry, cameras, all that kind of stuff inside a suitcase, and it's protected because it's very sturdy. But the craft industry went gaga for these, and it's a way to like have all your craft in the bag protected, but you kind of want to decorate it. And so I'm thinking on the front of this, what would be really cool is to maybe do a sashiko like from Sylvia Pippin. She has some awesome designs. I just don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. So maybe an embroidery. I have no idea. All I know is I'm so happy to have gotten them. I feel totally spoiled. And I'm going to spoil you. Yazzie sent me something to give away to you. I know. Crazy, huh? So, if you remember, this is my Yazzie wallet, which I did. Sue Spargo had a kit on how to embellish this wallet, and then did some teaching on the stitches, and so I embellished this wallet with wool, flower, and ribbon, all from Sue Spargo. And then on the inside, I inserted, as Sue instructed, this little wool page insert, and I attached my needle labels that you can get from SueSpargo.com, and I only attached my very favorite needles, and because this is just for short travel, you know, and then I put those needles that I have as my most favorite from my very favorite stitches in on this little sheet of wool. Got my needle minder, got my needle threaders, the drizzle pad, and some extra needles up here, and it just folds up into this absolutely fabulous wallet. So, you know, this fits in your purse. This fits in your pocket. So you go into a friend's house, you could just roll up the threads you need and some little project in there, and you're all set to go. On the go. So Yazzie sent me a travel wallet to give away. Yes, to give away. And it's a red one. What's not to love about red? Can you imagine embellishing that? So what do you have to do to be in the drawing for this Yazzie wallet? Well, here's what I want you to do. First of all, I want you to subscribe. Leave a comment that you love Yazzie. And remember, Yazzie is spelt with 2 I's. So you want to spell Y-A-Z-Z-I-I. Put that up close there. Yazzie.com. But they're so generous to have sent this travel wallet to give away to one of you quilt roadies, that what I would really like for you to do is to, if you're an Instagram follower, which I know a lot of you are, I want you to go to Yazzie Crafts, Yazzie with 2 I's, Crafts on Instagram, and subscribe. Become a follower of Yazzie Crafts, because she has, she's at a trade show last week. I mean, there's all kinds of fun things that are showing up on her Instagram feed. So please be a subscriber of Quilt Roadies. Go to Instagram and follow Yazzie Crafts, and I will put the link in the description box and the correct spelling. Isn't that exciting? That's so exciting. I got a call from a friend. Many of you know her, Stacy from Buttermilk Basin, and we're just kind of catching up. You know, it's so frustrating that normally all of these people in the quilting world would be passing each other at market, at shows. All these designers would be vendoring. We would all be having a big party. And so she said, I told her, I said, I am loving the gnomes. I'm all about the gnomes. And so she says, well, you want me to send you some gnomes? And you know, I had a split second of, do I really need another project? But they're gnomes. I mean, really? What's not to like about a gnome? And so I said, okay, send me them. So she sent me 3 kits. And if you go to her site, you will see all the gnomes that she's doing. And that girl is going gaga over gnomes. Yeah. So here's the first one. Is that not adorable? This is part of the Year of the Gnome. Isn't that cute? Look at this one. Oh, I mean, you have to just laugh. I mean, and don't we all need some laughs? And here you go. I love them all, but I'm going to give one away, because really, I can almost hear a little oinking going on, my little piggy brain. Mine, 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 oink, oink. No, so I'm going to share one with you. So if you are interested in this fabulous gnome kit, yes, it's a kit. It has all of the wool in it that you need, and the twine, and the button. All you need to say, you need to be a subscriber, you need to say gnome somewhere in your comment, G-N-O-M-E-S, gnomes, or gnome. I will put both of those. And please go to, if you're an Instagram follower, and you haven't already, which you should, go to Buttermilk Basin, and I will put the link in the description. Let's see, Buttermilk Basin on Instagram and follow her. Follow her on Instagram because you really do get to see everything that crazy girl is up to. And let me tell you, I'm not sure she sleeps. I think she lives on Coke. That's Coca-Cola, not the illegal kind of Coke. No. I want to make that perfectly clear. It's the Coca-Cola she drinks. So, because she is just designing fiend. Yes, she is. So I would appreciate, as a big thank you to Stacy, that you go onto her Instagram feed, bump up her followers, and I will put a link to her Instagram feed and her website because these are so cute. So if you're interested in this one, let me know. So yes, I do have my mojo back. I am doing a crazy amount of stuff. Now, as you saw at the beginning of this video, I drug out the Remember the Giver by Timeless Traditions. I love that quilt. I'm not quite sure where all of the rest of it is, like the border and the sashing, but it's got to be here somewhere. I mean, truly, I'm still getting used to where I put stuff away. And, but all the blocks are here, and I would say I'm about 75% done with the stitching on the blocks, unless I want to add some fun Sue Spargo or Ariane Zercher's stitching, you know, some fun stitching. It's a primitive quilt though, so it doesn't need a whole lot of stitching. But sometimes I like to just add a little bit, you know. So that has become my zoom stitch. That means I'm not very good at sitting still. I never was as a child. I come from two people who were both, as I remember, ADHD. And so there's really, yeah, I don't sit very well unless I have something. And I know many of you say in the comments like, oh my God, how do you get so much done? Or how do you, you know, you're always doing something. The reason is because I cannot sit unless I am doing something. It's like I have to do two things at once. It's the only way I can calm myself. So the way I have functioned in this new living environment is that when I, after dinner, when we watch TV downstairs, that's where I tack binding, because the lighting is not as good in the family room. It's all wood, and by that time of the day it's on the other side of the sunset, and so it's not bright, it's more moody, and so I tack binding there. So since I have so much binding to do, I make sure that I have something there to tack the binding down. Otherwise, I don't sit, and G doesn't like it when I'm constantly jumping up and down doing something. So, excuse me, in Sisters, there I am. In Sisters, after dinner, we were in our TV room, which had great lighting, and the chair was great for cross-stitching, and so I cross-stitched in the evening. But the first part of the evening here, I'm tacking binding down. And the next quilt already left to a birthday girl in my family, so that felt awesome. The binding got tacked down, and the quilt got delivered on the birthday. Then what happens is in the evening, usually after 7 o'clock-ish, not to sound like we're totally boring, but around 7 o'clock-ish, we kind of move upstairs to the seating area in our bedroom, and watch TV there. And that's where I'm cross-stitching, because I got good light. I've got my stitching chair, and so I'm doing cross-stitching then. But every other time, when I get up in the morning and I'm having coffee with G, I have stitching in my hand. I have stitching in my hand if I'm sitting down. If I don't have stitching in my hand, I'm playing a game on my phone, which is not, he thinks that's like kind of weird, that this AARP, senior citizen woman, is just like playing a game on her phone. But so that's how I get so much done. It's that I never sit without some sort of stitching. With that said, I jump around a lot, so it looks like I'm getting a lot done, but some of this stuff is very old that I've been stitching on for a long while. So it's not that I'm like way getting a lot of stuff done immediately. It's that it's eventually getting done. That's what I could say. I'm an eventual stitcher. I'm an eventual quilter. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. Yeah, so I did. I quilted the Charlie Harper quilt, and I started to face it. And I just wanted to show you the process. I have a tutorial on facing, so if you Google Quilt Roadies quilt facing, you'll get the video where I actually go more step by step on how I do it. But here today, I'm just showing you a bit. So I already faced two sides of this quilt. I just love this quilt. It's going to look so cute in my entryway. See. And I finished quilting it earlier this week, and I loved how many of you asked how I was marking it, and did my Sweet 16 have a seam guide. And it probably does, but I didn't mark it. If you are OCD about your quilting, you can use like painter's tape to make sure that you're the equal distance. That wasn't me. I'm by the fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl, and so I just eyeballed an inch. And given that this is a lot of different size squares and rectangles, it was pretty easy to eyeball about an inch. And nobody's going to, I mean, let me tell you, if you're friends with someone who's going to go up to your quilt and say, oh my gosh, this line's so crooked, this line doesn't look good, drop them. You don't need that kind of friend. I'm telling you, you don't need that kind of friend. So I don't have any of those kind of friends. My friends are all going to come in and say, wow, that looks great, even if they think it doesn't. And that is the kind of friend you want. You know, we have enough criticism in the world without having people who you actually know that are going to come in and say something about your quilting. So what I can say is I didn't mark one single line on this quilt, and it looks fantastic, if I do say so myself. And so I started facing. I faced two sides of it. And so it's, what facing is basically there's no binding. Binding adds another element to your quilt. And yes, there are some quilts that you do want binding on. And they either add an additional color or an additional feel, like some primitive quilts or comfy quilts. It gives you that homey feeling, a binding. But facing Facing is good for a certain kind of quilt where you don't want the additional color element and you want it a little bit cleaner edge. And so when you face a quilt, you see there's no binding. Everything gets turned over. So what I did was I cut 3-inch strips, and luckily out of my stash had a piece of fabric that was this, turned out to be the exact length that I needed, so I didn't have to do any piecing. And I cut that out in 3-inch strips, and then, because I'm lazy, I went ahead, and I'll show you here, I went ahead and already sewed a seam. I just turned it under 1/4 inch. And the way I did it is that I just took my iron and ironed it under 1/4 inch. No, I did not measure it. I eyeballed 1/4 inch, ironed it, and then I seamed that 1/4 inch down. So this is the edge that I'm going to tack down. So I don't have to keep turning it under. It's already turned under. Yeah. It makes it go faster. And then this is the edge that I'm going to sew by machine onto the edge of my quilt. So when you face a quilt, you cut it out right to the edge. So you'll see I cut it out right to the edge. And then let's see, let me turn my machine on and we'll get this baby going. So I'm just going to right sides together, and I am going to sew this down. I have my 1/4 inch foot on. So since I already tacked the 2 sides down, I am going to just sew it. 1/4 inch foot, and I'm just going to sew it all the way down. And then I'll show you the trick. Got it all sewed down. Now next we have to press it. So let's go over to the ironing board. So the trick here is first I'm going to press it all the way out. You want to press it nice and tight away from your quilt. So I'm going to use a lot of steam. This is my Panasonic cordless iron, which I absolutely love. Because the real trick to all of this is to put an 1/8 inch seam along the top. Yeah. And that's what makes that facing roll over when you're tacking it down nice and tight. So now that I have it pressed away, the next step will be to sew an 1/8 inch seam from the edge of my facing strip all the way down. So back to the machine. So now that I've got it pressed away from my quilt, and I have my seam already turned under on this side, which I think is just genius, I'm going to sew an 1/8 inch away from where the facing strip attached to the quilt, and I'm just going to sew that all the way down. And this seam allows that facing strip to roll over nice and tight. So by doing that 1/4 inch, or 1/8 inch I should say, seam all the way down on the outside of the facing strip, when I go to press it over, it just rolls right over. So when I press it, it's going to stay there. Nice and easy. And I just tuck the end in when I tack it down. Now I tacked this side down, and I just use clips along the way, just like you would binding, and then I just whip stitched it down, and that is facing a quilt. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the other side so that tomorrow morning I have something to do when I'm having morning coffee. Yes, because I have to have something to do, otherwise I'm too fidgety. Yeah, so don't forget, if you want to be in for the Yazzie wallet, please sign up on Instagram for Yazzie Crafts. I'll put the link in the description. In a comment, put down that you're interested in a Yazzie wallet. Also be a subscriber. For Buttermilk Basin, the same rules. Go on to Instagram and start following Buttermilk Basin. I'll put a link down in the description. Say something about gnomes and be a subscriber. And then we'll meet you back here next time. And next time I'm going to be doing a stitch with me. I need to get some wool stitching done. So let's do that together next time, okay? You guys stay safe. Have fun out there. Keep stitching. And we'll see you in the next episode.